was a really good paying job as an occupation in the music business and in the musical world that we lived in. That was the ideal situation.
Coming to work with JD and Tony, I had things to learn like Sin City.
This old town's filled with sin, it'll swallow you in if you've got some money to burn. Take it home right away, you got 3 years to pay, but Satan is waiting his turn.
It wasn't long after we started, playing, the shows at the, at the Holiday Inn, that JD said, "Oh, by the way, we're supposed to go cut a record." It's like,
when we recorded the album, the old Home Place album, old 44, as a lot of people know it, Jerry was not working with us at the time. He was still working with the Country Gentlemen.
when we got together the material to cut the record, cut the, the New South album, I kept telling JD, well, this would be great to have Dobro on.
And I don't think JD was too crazy about Dobro players up to that point. And but Tony and Ricky talked JD into taking me on.
Of course, he and Ricky were big buddies at that time.
And I said, I really think we ought to, ought to ask Jerry to come in. I don't know if I want any Dobro on any of this stuff, And
so when we recorded the album, we borrowed him for the session.
It was amazing to play with them. I knew that I had gone to another level. I knew that as soon as I started playing with them, with JD especially, was this guy whose taste and tone were impeccable, were rivaled by none.
And meanwhile, he had told me that he was going to be leaving the Gentlemen.
But once he came in and kind of proved his worth, I think JD was really loving the sound that we got with Jerry.
That when he did let me know. And so he was interested in joining the New South.
So he decided that he would, leave the Country Gentlemen and come work with JD for a while.
All those years after hearing him play with Jimmy Martin and how much that blew me away, I couldn't believe that I was actually going to play with this guy. And I would have done it for free.
What have they done to the old home place? Why did they tear it down? And why did I leave the plow in the field and look for a job in the town?
The Japan trip was a bittersweet trip for me because it was like our farewell tour.
GRISMAN and I met from working together on the Bill Keith album, and GRISMAN and I befriended each other, and that's when I heard his new music, and I was ecstatic about it, to say the least.
I knew that was our last tour, and I knew that. We all knew that.
I really didn't know that there was going to be such a sudden end to this band.
I would have probably stayed along for a while longer if Tony had have stayed.
But it didn't affect our playing any. It's probably the best performances we probably ever did.
We did some extensive rehearsal with David GRISMAN and was ready for a change.
Musically, he was taking another step in the direction that he needed to go in.
When I had gave notice to Crowe, I had no idea that Ricky and Jerry were going to leave and form their own band.
Jerry Douglas and I decided that we would, when Tony left, that we would just go ahead and put together a band, and we did with Boone Creek, and so it kind of left JD with no mandolin player, no dobro player, no guitar player, no tenor singer, no fiddle player. You know, I mean, it was a tremendous, you know, restructuring for JD.
You know, I felt sorry for JD and all of us leaving at the same time.
By the fall of that year, everybody's sentiments, though unspoken, I think were basically the same, is that individually we were ready to move on to other pastures.
I don't think we really wanted to go. I think we just thought, you know, this is a time, it's going to change so drastically when Tony goes, that if we're going to step out, this is the time we need to do it.
I know JD was ready to move the New South into its own new identity.
Well, you know, like I said, all good things come to an end. And so I started looking around for other people, and of course there they were.
And why did I leave the plow in the field and look for a job in the town?
I believe in doing what you feel like you want to do. And if you can do that and get some satisfaction and plus reach a wider audience, I can't see why people don't do it.
Tony Rice, Ricky Skaggs, and Jerry Douglas had left the band earlier that year, and he'd recruited Glen Lawson to play mandolin and Harley Allen to sing lead and tenor and play guitar. And Harley left the band, and I guess moved back to Dayton. Back in D.C., I'd gotten the word through the proverbial bluegrass grapevine that all this was going on, and it just got me thinking that I should give JD a call and see what the scoop was. So I flew down to Lexington, hit some licks, and as the saying goes, the rest is history. I could see right off the bat that Glen would have had a rough time keeping up on the mandolin when Crowe decided he wanted to play one of his or Earl Scruggs' banjo tunes at full speed.
I, for one, had realized that you couldn't keep doing the same type of songs over and over the same way. So I kind of decided maybe add some drums, and of course we hooked up amplifiers. And I always like to mix up music. Because I love the old country music, the old rock and roll, the old rhythm and blues, and that kind of stuff. And I always like to try to mix some of that together.
Well, my window faces the south, and I'm almost halfway to heaven. The snow is falling, but all I can see is fields of cotton smiling back at me. Oh, my window.
I have to honestly say it was a pleasure and some of the most fun times I've had in my nearly 40 years as a professional musician. We all got along great, laughed and joked constantly, and became very close friends along the way. All of that seemed to carry over to our performances on stage, which made for a good show and a connection with the audience. It doesn't get much better than that.
My window faces down south.
Oh, yeah. On top of that, of course, did I mention we got paid for it too? Wow.